Write those things down. Write those things down that you're telling yourself. Acknowledge those for what they are. They're really just lies that you're telling yourself, okay? Because you can break free from that, and you're going to break free from that right now. Real quick, I do have some metal for you at the end of this little chat that we're about to have, so do hang around for that. I had a double header this weekend on Saturday. Really cool day. So it started out Saturday morning. We got ready and we headed out to Bradenton, which is about an hour from us. I live in the Seffner area, and this is kind of like in the Tampa, Brandon area. So we drove about an hour to Bradenton to this community called Del Webb Lakewood Ranch. It's a 55 and up community. I'd never been here before. One of my booking agents slash really close friends, Todd, who books me for one of the wineries that I play at, well, he got me this gig. So I'm like, yeah, we'll take it. It sounds really cool. So that was from 12 to 3. I get there, never been to this place before, by the way. So I get there, I meet these two cool ladies, Ann and Mary. They welcomed me in, super nice, Ann and Mary, and they showed me around, showed me where I needed to set up, all that good stuff. As I got to playing, once I took my break, I met this cool dude named Greg, and we sat there. You guys know I play 80s music, so we sat there and talked 80s music like for, I don't know, for at least 15 minutes. I only took one break at this gig. It was a 3-hour show, but in any case, we had a really good time just talking about music. He actually plays bass. So we pack up after the gig, okay? We pack up. Of course, we're both hungry, so we stopped by the Wawa, had to get a meatball sub. Man, the meatball subs at the Wawas are really good, but I needed some fuel to carry me to the next gig, which was at Jerry's Dockside. Now, this is in Gibsonton, Florida, not too far away, and it was kind of on the way back home from where we were at in Bradenton. Now, this is a place I play at quite frequently. Really cool place on the Alafia River, beautiful scene out there, and just a really cool and laid back vibe. The people are always cool and generous there. So, of course, I always ask, are there any birthdays out there that we need to celebrate? Well, there's this one girl at the table, and two people were pointing at her, saying, hey, it's her birthday. So, of course, I'm like, well, what is your name? Well, they said, well, we just call her Mama. And then the other girl said, her name is Karen. So Mama Karen, we sang happy birthday to Mama Karen. Now, this table of 3 people, they were really engaged and just really enjoying the music. So on my break, I went over to talk to them and just say thank you so much for being here and that sort of thing. And that's just something I do on a regular basis. And I got to meet Jeff and his wife Amy, and of course got to meet Mama Karen as well. How many times have you forgotten somebody's name and you kind of beat yourself up about it? You're like, man, I cannot remember what that person's name is. And then of course you say something like, well, I'm just bad with names. How many times have you said that to yourself? I'm raising my hand, and if I had like 2015 hands, that's just a random number, but if I had a lot of hands, I'd be raising all of those hands, because there are so many times where I have not only forgotten the names of people that I just met, but where I have told myself thereafter that, well, I'm just bad with names. I'm just bad at remembering names. I've been making some little changes in my life to where there are certain things I've always told myself that I am no longer going to tell myself anymore. That's one of them. I'm not going to tell myself that, well, I'm just bad with the names. I'm bad at remembering names. More than likely, there may be another time where I do forget someone's name, but I'm no longer going to tell myself that I'm bad with names, because if you tell yourself that you're bad with names, well, guess what? You're bad with names, and you put that on yourself. You create this person that you have become that is bad with remembering people's names. Now, a little tactic that I do use for names now, and I just started using this, is I will often repeat the name back to the person. So when I met Jeff, for example, Jeff, Amy, and Mama Karen at Jerry's Dockside, when I met Jeff, I repeated the names. Hey, Jeff, great to meet you. Amy, awesome to meet you. Mama Karen, awesome to meet you. And I'll say their name again another time, or maybe more than one more time during the conversation. That's something that has helped me remember names a little bit better. We often tell ourselves things and we become that, okay? We think that we can't remember this, or we can't do that, or we're just not cut out for this, or I always do this or that. You can just fill in the blank going down the line and probably write a book about it, guys. But we are continuing to create the person that we are, right? We're creating that with our words, with our mouth. So if you constantly tell yourself you're bad at something, well, yeah, you're gonna be bad at it. If you tell yourself, well, I just always forget stuff, well, guess what? You're always going to forget stuff. Let's head over to guitar. How many of you, and not all of you, but how many of you have said, well, I'm just a rhythm guitar player. I'm just really not good at solos, so I don't need to go down that path. I'm just a rhythm player. I'm not a lead player. Raise your hand if you've said that to yourself before. Now, let's back up for a moment. It doesn't mean that if you have a passion for rhythm guitar and you don't have that same passion for playing guitar solos, that you should try to play solos. Okay, if that's not your thing, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with playing rhythm, but let's not say, oh, I'm just a rhythm player. You can have a song without guitar solos, but you can't have a song without the rhythm guitar. At least not a complete one that's going to sound cool. I don't want you to say things like, well, I'm just a rhythm player. Hey, be proud of that if that's what you want to do. However, if you do want to play leads, if you do want to play guitar solos, guys, don't tell yourself that, well, I'm just a rhythm player. Solos are not for me. I'm just not cut out to play guitar solos. Apply this concept to pretty much anything in life. I want you to think about this. Get a notepad out and write down some of the things that you tell yourself. Some of the things that maybe aren't so positive, some of the things that maybe you do forget names. Maybe you aren't great at certain things that you want to be great at. Maybe you consider yourself, well, I'm just a rhythm player. I'm not cut out to play solos, or I'm not cut out to play this technique or do this or do that. I want you to take a moment. I'm serious, guys. I want you to do this exercise. I want you to get that notepad out and I want you to hand write this. Don't type it. I want you to go old school on me here, okay? Get the notepad out. Write those things down. Okay, we unpaused the video. I don't know if you actually paused it, but I hope you did. I hope you went through this exercise, okay? If you didn't, hey, pause it right now. Write those things down. This is important, guys, okay? Now what I want you to do is take each one of those, scratch it out, draw a line through every one of those statements, okay? I want you to do that. Draw a line through it. As you're drawing a line through each one, I want you to tell yourself that that's not you anymore, okay? I want you to say, in other words, if you have a hard time remembering names, if you say, well, I'm just not good at remembering names, I always forget names, draw a line through that and say, I'm good at remembering names. If you wrote down that I'm just a rhythm player, I can't play solos, or I'm not cut out for that, draw a line through that and say to yourself, I'm a great rhythm player, but I'm also learning how to play solos. I'm going to get great at that as well. Okay? Whatever that thing may be, draw a line through that and make something positive out of that. I want you to reinforce positivity into your life with your words, with the things that you tell yourself, because what we tell ourselves is what we become. It's what we continue to be. As you go through this exercise, and I truly hope you did this. If you didn't, okay, I encourage you, go back through this video and go through the exercise, guys. Get the notepad out, write those things down. Write those things down that you're telling yourself. Acknowledge those for what they are. They're really just lies that you're telling yourself, okay? Because you can break free from that, and you're going to break free from that right now. That's why I'm putting this video out there. Look, I need to break free from some of these things as well. There are still things that I tend to tell myself, like, well, I'm just a late bloomer, right? Throughout my entire life, I'll tell you a quick childhood story real quick. You know, throughout my entire life, I was a little bit smaller, and I always felt that I was a bit behind intellectually and as far as my growth and everything. So I always looked at everyone else as a little bit better, sometimes a lot better than I was in pretty much every way. So I told myself these things like, well, I'm a late bloomer. I'm the guy that got the joke 3 weeks later. I'm the guy that had to read the book or watch the movie 4 times to get it. I had to stop telling myself those things, because the longer you tell those things to yourself, well, that's who you become more of. These things just compound. They become habits. They become wired into your brain, into your head, that this is who you are. And if you don't break that cycle, you're never going to become anything beyond that. You're never going to become greater than that. You're always going to be held back by the things that you tell yourself. So I want us to break this cycle today. Again, we're breaking it right now. We're done with the garbage that we're telling ourselves, okay? I want you to tell yourself that right now. I'm done with the garbage that I've been telling myself about whatever it is you wrote down and you crossed out. And again, I want you to replace that, okay? I want you to replace that with some affirmations that you tell yourself. One of my personal affirmations is, every day I am getting better, stronger, wiser, and wealthier. And there's a reason that I have those specific words in there. Maybe we'll go through that in another video at some point if you guys would like. Why did I choose those words? There are some really heavy, no pun intended, because we're all about heavy metal here, but there are some very specific reasons why I chose those words, all right? So think of the things that maybe you've struggled with throughout your life, and think of the contrast to that. What is the better version of you? What does the other side of that look like? Okay, and I want you to tell yourself this is what you're going for. Now guys, understand, this doesn't mean you just sit back and meditate all your problems away and everything just, you know, just kind of like comes down from the sky, okay? You do have to put in the work, all right? You do have to put in the work. And I know a lot of you, because you're on my channel and because you've watched this far into this video, I know for a fact that you are putting in the work at some capacity, okay? Maybe you need to work a little bit more at certain things, maybe work a little smarter at certain things, but you'll continue to figure that out. But you do need to put in the work. Again, I don't want this to be some like, oh, Jason's out in la la land now, let's just tell ourselves these cool positive things and life just works out. It's not quite how it works, but if you're putting in the work, if you're putting in the effort, the time, okay, you're doing what it takes, on top of getting rid of those lies that you've been telling yourself this entire time and replacing that with something that's going to help drive you forward, not hold you back. So guys, I hope this chat helped you. I promised you some tunes, so I'm going to play that for you. Actually, this is one of the guitar solos from one of the live shows I talked about at the beginning of the video. I hope you enjoyed this, guys. Please leave me any comments, and hey, while you're writing your comments, let me know some of these negative things you've been telling yourself and what you plan to do about it, okay? Let me know that in the comments. I'd love to read those. Guys, I hope you have an awesome day, an awesome week. As always, keep it metal and keep playing music.